Hi, and welcome to The Wellness of Being. I'm your host, Brad Poirier. Today we have an exciting guest for you. Her name is Lauren, and you may know her. She's a former owner of Mo Mondays, and she also does a lot of public speaking, but today she's going to share something exciting with you. Welcome, Lauren.
I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
So I think what we're going to do is we're going to get right into it, and you can let the audience see what you have to share.
Absolutely, happy to.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
There you go.
My mother loves me. She loves me so much. And that's why she put me on my first diet before I could read. You see, my mom was heavy, and she suffered because of that. You know, the bullying, the belittling, the lack of confidence. And she didn't want that for her darling daughter. No, she wanted her daughter to be beautiful and confident and smart and maybe a little bit sexy. But I couldn't possibly be that because I wasn't slim. That's what slim was the answer to all of her problems. And she thought it was going to be the answer to all of mine. So she taught me some things. She taught me how to eat Melba toast, and she taught me how to carefully cut a piece of bread in half so I could pretend I had a sandwich. She taught me that salad was my savior and dessert was the enemy. She taught me about exercise. She taught me to ride my bike 1 mile every single day, even though I hate bike riding. She taught me all of these things about cabbage soup and about grapefruit juice and diuretics. She taught me a lot, but what I learned was eat chocolate bars in the closet. I learned that if I hid in the forest with my bike for half an hour, she wouldn't know I never took my ride. I learned that everything good came from being slim. I learned that in order to be anything in this life, slim was the answer. And slim was the one thing I was not. But I never put it together. I never thought, but wait, I love my mom. I've always loved my mom. I never thought of her as fat and ugly the way she used to describe herself. No, I love how warm and soft she is to hug. I love her absolute fierce sense of generosity. I love her strength of character. She went to back teaching grade school full time, went back to night school to get her master's so she could take care of us, her 2 kids she had at home as a single mom. I never saw her fat and ugly, never once. But of course, I looked at her through my eyes, not through hers. And that's where the problem is, you know, in our eyes, our perception. We've allowed the world to tell us what sexy looks like, what fat looks like, what skinny looks like. We've allowed the world, society, media, and our friends and our family to decide what beautiful is. And I am ready to stand up on top of the mountaintop and scream, "You don't get to tell me I'm not sexy." But doesn't that feel a little angry? I am not angry. I'm not an angry person. That's just never been who I am. You see, as I've been learning new things, I'm learning new, different things. I'm learning that we're all on this journey. I'm learning that people should be judged for their heart, not for their hips. Can we agree that nothing in the world comes from hate? Think about it. We learn that good and evil exist, and every fairy tale tells us that good always wins. But we live in a world immersed in hate. And not necessarily hate focused outwards, although it is there too. But a lot of the time it is focused in white, hot intensity on ourselves, our bodies, our hair, our glasses, our height, our stature. What if we decided we were just going to remove that today? How would that feel? What if we stood up and said one thing, dare I say it, that we like about our bodies? A very wise woman named Carrie Fullerton once said to me, how can you care for something that you hate? Think about it. How can you care for something that you hate? My body is going to be with me for as long as I'm alive. And so is yours. So where is that sense of gratefulness, or at the very least acceptance for what our bodies can do for us? What if we said, thank you, legs, for bringing me here today? What if we said, thank you, heart, for beating the blood that I need to survive? We don't like so much about ourselves. You know, we think about it. We want larger breasts, smaller breasts, longer legs, a perkier butt, bigger muscles, washboard abs. No, I just want to be able to be alive. Can we start with that? Can we say, thank you, God, that I am alive today? That's a fantastic place to start. Thank you that I have arms that can hug, and I hug really, really well. This has been a great journey for me, and I know that I'm not alone. I bet in this audience there might be 5 of you that can stand up and say that you love everything about yourself. But for the rest of us, we got a little work to do. I have met women that I would have thought were physically perfect. Now, I mean stereotypically, oh my Lord, she's gorgeous. But they're still struggling. They are. And so thin girls want to have curves, and heavy girls wish they were slim. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Let's step up and decide that no, that's where it ends. You're on your journey, and it's okay to be where you are. Some of these beautiful women that I'm looking at are feeling the pain, and the old me would have said, you're beautiful, you're just seeking attention. But no, what makes me think that my pain is greater than theirs? Simply because my hips are wider. Gratefulness feels good, and I want you to join me in that. But there's a place beyond gratefulness where I'm learning to live, and it's called love. Love is the place where a mother can look down at her post-baby stretch marks and say, thank you, belly, for housing my most wonderful gift. Love is the place where you can eat a salad because it tastes really good and because you love what it does for your body. Not because you're on a diet and not because your mom made you. Love is the place where you can go salsa dancing in Roatan, in a bikini, because that just happens to be what you were wearing when they asked you to dance. It's not caring, not even noticing if the crowd that gathered to watch me dance was whispering about my size. I couldn't care less. I was having too much fun. Love is the place where I can gently say, no, you don't get to tell me I'm not sexy, but you don't get to tell yourself that either. Thank you.
Wow, bravo. I just want to hug you. Okay. Wow, oh, you are such a great, I'm almost speechless. And just when I was off to the side, you know, just watching Lauren and taking all her words in and things like that, it really hit home, because I believe it's not only women, it's guys too. You know, I'm a guy, and guys deal with body issues. Guys deal with, like you say, a six-pack. I'm not good enough, this and that, just stuff from your parents. I think you just hit on something very prominent that people need to know, that it's okay to love yourself. Yeah. It's okay to be you. It's okay that if you don't have that adjustments done, and you don't need them done because it's really just about you. So I want to talk a little bit about you, Lauren,
Sure.
and kind of, where did you come from? What's your background? You're so amazing. We just want to know.
Sure. Well, I mean, in my real life, I actually run a marketing agency and I work with professional speakers. But this message has come from just years of working on myself and realizing, you see, I mean, I'm a big Facebook fan. So you know how you see on Facebook the real women have curves,
yes,
and real men have this and that. And I just decided that I wanted to spread the message that real people have heart.
Yes.
Real
yes.
people, what we look like doesn't matter.
No.
It really doesn't. It's the wrapping paper. It gets squished up and thrown away. It is completely irrelevant to who we are inside. And that's where I come from. That's really the message that I want to get out there, is how important our heart is and how unimportant the wrapping is.
Yeah, and did you find growing up too that you were bombarded by images and people telling you and your parents saying, this, that, either one, eat all the food on your plate, or shouldn't you not have that, or saying even with the chocolate bars and hiding it, because you learn these things to hide food and say, no, I didn't eat anything.
It wasn't me.
Didn't do that. I think we're all guilty, but are we really guilty? We're all human, and we're only going by conditioning that we've been told if you're not the perfect proportion, perfect size, you're unhealthy, you're not attractive, you're not going to fit in. Like all these images, rather than just embracing yourself, loving yourself, and just basically, I think that's the key, is knowing your heart and being able to say, like you say, it's not up to you to tell me I'm not sexy. It's up to you to tell yourself. And I think that's what
we are. And sexy has very little to do with how you look. Sexy has to do with how you feel.
Of course. Yeah, exactly.
But we don't get that anymore. No. We just don't. And I'll tell you, 10 years ago, I mean, we like each other fine, right? You're attracted to kind of who I am. But 10 years ago, you probably would have looked at me and just run the other way, because I spent my life living the belief that I couldn't be anything because I wasn't slim. So I spent my life living in my victim. And it took someone to literally shake my brain to say, you know what? You have a choice. You can decide that your stature or your looks or your color or whatever is not going to define you. We can decide whatever we want to decide.
Exactly. And I think we're tired of being bombarded. We're trying to yo-yo diet. I think we've all been on it. Every kind of fad, every type of thing. You want to fit in with everybody else. So you're saying, I want that latest design, but it's built for a size 0 or a size 2 or men too. It's the same sort of thing. There's these muscle shirts, but when you've got rolls and rolls and rolls, you're not exactly looking muscly. Let me tell you. And I think it takes a long journey, and probably too, you working, and you mentioned Carrie Fullerton as well, who will actually be on our next segment coming up next, so just a little sneak peek. But with Carrie, she started the Diet Rebellion and just exploded. You know what I mean? And that we'll talk more about it later, so I don't want to give you too much now, but I think she was one of the people that kind of helped you see.
Absolutely. I've been working with her for a long time. And dieting just made, I counted it. I have lost 527 pounds in my lifetime. And I'm heavier now. I look back and I'm like, man, I wish I was as slim as I was when I thought I was heavy.
Yes.
All I do is gain more weight. So it's time that I simply love myself, eat good food, move more. If my body changes, great. And if it doesn't, I still have curves.
That's right. And I think exactly. And I think that's what it is. As long as you're confident, you walk down the street, and like you say, you exude charisma. You exude, and people can see when you have confidence. If you're down like this and walking like that, but if you're like this, head, straight up, ears over your shoulder, your stature is totally different. And who are they going to come over to? Like somebody who's like this, or somebody who looks like, I'm... and that's how you feel as well, because I think mentally, and with having that struggle, And it's, I even know my own struggles. You know, you eat, you lose weight, and then you try every little thing, but you end up gaining more back and even faster once you, for some people, basically starve yourself. You know what I mean? And you think, well, I can't have this, I can't have that, I can't eat this, but your body's not getting the proper nutrition, it's not getting the health it needs, but you can be incredibly skinny and still be unhealthy. You can be overweight, but be perfectly healthy. So we can't always go into those images that say, this is who I am, this is where I'm at. If I don't fit into that size 0, I'm not healthy. That's untrue. And I think we really have to embrace ourselves. Wouldn't you agree? There was so much in your talk that I wanted to pull, and literally I was like choking up. I'm like, I don't know if I can come back over here after that. You know what I mean? Because it's very real, and you just say it like it is, and you know, with the parents, with everything else, and you just pull it out there. But I think the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway, you know, is having the heart and just being able to love yourself. And I think that's probably for you. I don't know if you want to expand on a little bit, but would not loving yourself have a big influence?
It's funny. I think that our body image has nothing to do with the way our body looks. But it has to do with how much we care about ourselves, how much we actually love ourselves and can project that love outward.
Exactly.
I really wish that we would stop using the defining words of fat or slim or even sexy, although I really like sexy.
Well, you know you are. You know, that's a given.
But seriously, it's the matter of I want people to start. I mean, I'm going to change the world. Okay, well maybe not, but I'm going to share who I am because I spent 35 years of my life trying to be smaller.
Yes.
And it's about time that I said, you know what? I have a personality. It's as big as my hips.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Of course. And why try to fit in when you're meant to stand out? You know?
And we all are. You know,
exactly.
it's time to really just pay attention to who we are and stop labeling and judging other people as well as ourselves.
Of course. And I think that's where it is. If you want to change the world, I think basically you need to start with yourself. Look in that mirror, embrace yourself, embrace those rolls, embrace those curls and curves and everything that you have, and say, you know, I'm okay. I don't have to, you know, deal with anybody else's opinion and things like that. I mean, it's been such a pleasure having you on. The time just flew today, Laura, and you are an amazing hugger, let me tell you. So if you ever see her on the street, make sure you go up and hug her. I want to say thank you for joining, and we'll be right back with Carrie Fullerton. She's going to talk about the diet rebellion, because she's going to let us know diets don't work, or do they? We'll be right back. Stay tuned after the break. Hey, and we're back to the Wellness of Being. I'm your host, Brad Poirier, and as promised, we have our very special guest, Carrie Fullerton, the leader of the Diet Rebellion. As you saw in our last episode with Lauren, it's all about self-love, body image, and now here's the expert herself, Carrie Fullerton. Welcome, Carrie.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, the Diet Rebellion. So, there's so many ways you can go with this, but I guess the first thing is, do you think diets work?
Well, the evidence says it doesn't. And people are forever trying to lose weight, and 95% of them are failing. And so we need a new strategy, because this one is not working, and women's lives are getting consumed by this idea that they need to lose weight and that they have to, and their entire lives get consumed by it. And worse, their daughters are watching, their children are watching, and girls are learning to hate their bodies and be on diets.
Exactly, and I think that's what it is. Like you say, that the kids look to their parents, and if their parents say, I don't like that, then they won't eat it. Or they're saying, I like this, then because they want to emulate, obviously, their parent, that's who they look up to. And unfortunately, I think that starts from a very young age when they start this patterning process. And then once they get to a certain age, they're bombarded with images, they're bombarded with just being told what to do. You know, you you look fat, you look you look this, you look that, you know what I mean, don't eat this, make sure you eat everything on your plate. Like, I think we've been just constantly bombarding, and I know your focus is probably more with women, but I think men also deal with this as well.
They do. We need a leader. We need a man leader.
Of course. You know, I mean, and that's exactly what it is, because I think even though it's not as widely, because with society's stuff, you can basically say that, you know, it's okay to be bald, it's okay to be gray, it's okay to have a pot belly if you're a man, but not if you're a woman, right? But I think there's still some men that don't want a pot belly, that don't want to be bald, and, you know, that really have those issues with themselves, that they see all these guys that go to the gym and just their bodies, even for women, it doesn't matter how many crunches you do, something still seems to be there.
Well, it's the forever looking in the mirror and saying, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. And I think, like, when Lauren's talk, I love it. She's like, bigger boobs, smaller boobs, like longer, the whole nine, right?
Yes.
And women stand in front of the mirror and complain. Women, it's become as culturally accepted to discuss this amongst women as it is the weather. It's just a standard conversation. And as you pull back from that, you really start to see how pervasive it is. Women talk about what they're eating, what kind of diet there's an expectation that you're watching what you eat. There's an expectation that you're trying to change your body. And girls are seeing that. And Dove put out a wonderful global report this year, and it's just incredible to see around age 10 is where things really shift dramatically. So it's young.
So even before puberty.
Absolutely. And now in this world with social media and this need to be perfect and be flawless and to not let anyone see any weakness, it's amplified.
Yes.
And all these people show their before and after pictures, hey, check it out. But no one's having the conversation about when the weight comes back.
No.
And I say when, not if, because statistically speaking, it's coming back.
Of course.
And so you get praised for losing weight. So what follows is shame for gaining, and the cycle carries. And it doesn't matter whether you're trying to lose 5 pounds or 105 pounds. The feelings of self-worth are so wrapped up in a woman's body, it's shocking. And just in conversation, I spend so much time with the people who are on board with this, and then I get in conversations with other people and I see how many truths that just roll off the tongue. Well, it's not healthy to be fat. Well, it's not necessarily unhealthy. I had a call with one of my clients this week, actually, and she said, I'm terrified, I'm so scared I'm gaining weight. And I said, okay, let's, you know, how much weight are we talking about? How's your blood pressure? Fine. How are your blood sugars? Fine. How's your cholesterol? Perfect. Every health measure I rhymed out was checked.
Yes.
She's fine. So why is she terrified of getting fat? It's not health, it's confidence, it's self-worth, it's how the world is judging us. And that was another thing that came up in the Dove report, which breaks my heart, is women aren't stepping into who they are. Because of that fear of judgment, they're holding back. And these beautiful minds and beautiful women are holding back, and the world is missing out.
Exactly, and they need to embrace, and that's one thing that I think with the movement and what I get from what you're doing with the Diet Rebellion is about empowerment. It's about stepping into yourself. It's about owning who you are and not giving it to someone else to say, you know, like Lauren says, you know, you don't get to tell me that I'm not sexy.
Absolutely.
You know, you tell yourself, hey, I'm sexy, right? So, and that's the thing, and just own it. Stand up straight, be confident, and get out there. We're so bombarded with so much all the time. And as I say, I think, do you find there's also seasons as well during the year that your body does naturally put on weight? You know?
Absolutely, there's an ebb and flow, and I'm a big fan of pitching the scale altogether. There are a couple of opportunities where weighing yourself would be good.
Yes.
There are certain medications that if you took too much based on your body weight would kill you.
Yes.
Really good time to know what you weigh.
Yes.
But for me to show up here and talk to you today, did it matter how much I weighed when I got here? No.
No, of course
When
not.
I go and I took my kid to Hawaii last year, played on the beach, went snorkeling.
Yes.
Did my weight matter? Of course not.
Yeah.
But in the past it would have. I would have tortured myself trying desperately to lose weight to get there, or to look better for the camera to be here today.
Of course.
And all I'm saying is, this is the body I woke up with. This is the body I'm going to bed with. So how am I going to treat it today?
That's right.
And you absolutely need to respect your body. And if you can't love it yet, because I get lots of viewers are going, oh God, another one of these body love people.
But I think that's what it is. And I think
respect.
that's probably the biggest, and that's one of the biggest struggles that people have. And as you say, most people say, oh yeah, if you lose weight, you'll be healthier. But what about the unhealthy ways that people are doing it to lose the weight?
Yeah.
That's not so great when they're using all kinds of
The weight loss doesn't
methods.
guarantee the health. There is not
No.
a single weight loss pill, drug that has gone out there that has not successfully. People lose weight,
Yes.
but it does not change their health status. Their
No.
mortality rates don't change. It's not the weight loss.
No.
It's the lifestyle. And so whether you stay fat, my journey with people is respect your body and you will take care of it.
Yes.
You will eat more nutritious food. You will move your body because you're seeking health, not weight loss. And when the weight loss doesn't come, you won't stop the healthy behaviors that you started.
Right. And I think then the difference is you're doing it for yourself and not for someone or something else. Right? Like you said, I'm going to do this because I'm going to be on the beach. For the things that people might say, you know, they might say this, they might say that, oh, look at her, you know, things like that. But what does it really matter? You know, if you have that confidence in yourself, you own your body, you love your body, as I say, even if you're not there yet, because I understand it is a journey and it is a mental block, and I believe that's probably what you help people with, probably the number, if not the number one thing, it's very close to the top of what you, with your clients, talk about with the Diet Rebellion. I just want to know a little bit more about the Diet Rebellion itself, what it's all about, how it came to be. You're the leader, so obviously, how did you know, headstrong this whole movement?
So yeah, I mean, I grew up watching my mom and my grandma and all of their friends hating their bodies, always on a diet, forever seeking something, and I grew up following that path. And I took it to extremes, binge eating behaviors, bulimia. I hated my body, and I really thought that if I could change it, I would be different. My life would be different. And I mean, I look back on those pictures and I think, why did anyone, and it angers me a little bit, why did anybody try to help me lose weight? They should have turned my butt around and said,
yes.
What are you doing? But no one did. They all said, oh yes, we've got a plan for you. And it perpetuated this terrible cycle of self-loathing and hating and shame. Shame is probably the biggest stumbling block, because when you're so ashamed, it's really hard to ask for help.
Of course.
It's really hard to say, look at all the things I ate. And binge eating is, it's not eating a row of cookies. Although I know for some people that feels like a binge, but I'm talking about like whole cakes and pints of ice cream at the same time.
That's right, and you're almost in a
it's
food
really hard
hangover?
to admit that to people, because the look on their face is shocking. And so you keep that to yourself. So I just kept to myself my whole life. And then one day I picked up a book, and it was it's called It's Not About Food. And it was the very first non-dieting thing I ever read, and I went, oh my God, there's a different way. I didn't know there was a different way.
I don't have to be on the treadmill. I don't have to go over and follow this one, and then this one, and then this one, the next fad after the next fad. Like you said, you lose a little bit, but then you end up gaining more, because now your body is starving itself. So of course it goes into survival mode. So any food you do give it, it wants to hang on to it. You know?
Yeah. Well, and I successfully dieted myself from about a size 6 to about a size 16.
Oh, okay.
Like I successfully gained weight over the years by dieting. And when I stopped dieting, my body stopped changing. Well, it changes, but I don't know what I weigh, but I don't need to buy new clothes. No. And my husband still thinks I'm hot. My kid still thinks I'm great.
Of course.
My life is still amazing, and I get to share this with people.
Of course. I mean, you have more than everything going for you. You know, how many people can say that they struggle all the time, and there's, believe me, nothing wrong with going to the gym. There's nothing wrong with eating healthy, hydrating your body, and getting enough rest. But it's also
But do it for health, not for weight.
That's right.
Because I hear it all the time. Oh, I only lost. Who cares? What if you didn't lose any? Go. It's good for you, and it feels good to move your body.
But what if that extra weight that you think you're gaining is actually muscle? Because muscle weighs more than fat.
Well, a pound of fat is still a pound.
A pound.
But
you know what I mean? But if you're working out and you're building muscle and not fat, you could say, oh, I went up a pound, but it may be, you know, it's not an extra pound of fat. Of course. And I think some people live with that. They have to pull out the scale every day or several times a day, and that's how they base their life. I went up this many. I went up a quarter pound. I went down.
That's why I stopped weighing myself, because I could look in the mirror and think, hey, looking cute today. I like the hair, and then I get on the scale to validate that, and it was gone. And I just had enough. I said, no more. I am not going to be ruled by this. I'm going to let myself feel cute. And on the days when I don't feel cute, instead of blaming it on my weight, I'm going to look at what's missing. What am I needing? Maybe it's more rest. Maybe it's I haven't been social enough, maybe, which is my MO. I overdo it. I overschedule myself, and I just need quiet. And now my poor body image is a big red light to say, hey, Carrie, what's going on? Where do you need to pay some more attention? And it's so liberating, you know, to just move into my life, do the things I want to do. The big mission of the Diet Rebellion really lies with the next generation. Because when I look at what I went through and how I got to where I am, I can see the patterns of what I learned from the women in my life. And it wasn't just my mom and my grandma, it was all women I saw. And I still see it. I go to a party, they talk about what they're eating and what they're, it's just expected, and people are shocked when I tell them I'm not following any plan.
Of course.
Or that I'm not on some...
Well, yeah, and it's the same, and I think a lot of it happens too where, if you're out on a date, and this is in their newly dating, you go to a restaurant, oh no, I'm not having, and you'll have your little leaf of lettuce, and you're like, oh, I'm so full. Meanwhile,
no, I'm getting the steak and the dessert.
That's right, it's fine. I love somebody who eats healthy, and that shows, it's okay, I'm okay having this. My body will process it the way it needs to. But that's the other thing too, is when you eat, it's your mindset when you eat it.
Absolutely. So there was a really great study that I just found called what was it called? Mind Over Milkshakes.
Okay.
And they took two groups of women, and actually, I don't know if this was a woman's study. I have to look that up, but it was the same shake given to you and to me, but you were told it was a sensible choice, that it was a reasonable meal replacement, and I was told that it was an indulgent milkshake. So ghrelin is a hormone in our body that tells us we're full and satisfied. So that's what they measured. Your levels off your sensible, this is reasonable, this is a good thing to eat, stayed steady. Mine spiked initially and then tanked. So when my mindset, drinking that milkshake, was I'm being bad, I'm being indulgent, this is a big thing, the satisfaction of it didn't last, despite the same nutrient content. So how we come to our food has a huge impact on what our body does with it.
And I guess that's what it is. Like you said, just with a shake is a placebo. You believe, I believe it's healthy, it's a protein shake, it's a meal replacement. Okay, I'm neutral. And you're like, it's got all the great stuff in it. You know what I mean? And you take it down, and then I think that's probably your mindset too, says, oh, this is so great, I love it, now I feel guilty, I shouldn't have had this. And
it's that pleasure and guilt seem to have to go together.
So you're getting that spike, and like most probably food and things like that, or eating a chocolate bar, you get that sugar rush, and then boom, you crash later on, and things like that. Did you find that a lot of times growing up that you lived more in your inner world than your outer world, like more with your thoughts and things like that, or people can't see me for who I truly am, they can't know that I'm, eating chocolate bars in the closet, they can't know that I've had that whole cake and I binged and I did this, you know what I mean, where they're usually, that's okay.
It's completely culturally not acceptable, and it peaked big time when I went to naturopathic college. And then I was surrounded by the healthy people, and it was huge. And that was where the shift started. That was when I found that book. That was when things started to change. And I don't give people diets.
No, and I think that's what it is. So if someone were to contact you, what would be a typical first meeting, and what kind of is a general process that you help people with mainly?
So with the Diet Rebellion, I do one-on-one coaching with women. It's a 12-week process.
Oh, okay.
If someone's interested in that with me, then they can contact me through the website.
Okay.
I have a conversation with her. You can't just click buy now.
No, that's right. Yeah.
I handpick my people. Now, there are other products. There's a group program. There is an automated program. Those things are we can have a conversation and see what suits people best.
Exactly.
And the best place to go is thedietrebellion.com.
Oh, that's perfect. And I guess not everybody's a right candidate, because everybody says, I want to do it. But I think 12 weeks is a big commitment for some people, but not in regard to that, 12 weeks, if it's going to change the rest of your life, it's worth the investment. You know
well,
what I mean?
and it's getting
like
the
that.
process in place.
Yeah.
We start with calm. We spend a whole month creating calm in your body, your heart, and your soul.
Yes.
And then we move into what you can control and what you can't. And then we move into the confidence. And so by the end of that, people have the tools they need to move forward successfully.
Oh, perfect. And especially too, I guess once you learn to embrace yourself, to love yourself, even if it is a journey, you know what I mean? There has to be some kind of starting point. You know, you can't get from point A to point B. You have to do the journey. You have to, you know, embrace yourself. You have to, I mean, as I say, and I know we throw it around, love yourself, and I'm all, you know what I mean? And it takes time, and I think a lot of it's conditioning, a lot of it's from what we've been told growing up and things like that, you know, before we go, I mean, our segment has gone so fast. Do you have any final words or any advice you'd like to give our audience?
If there's nothing else you can do right now, look in the mirror and say thank you. Especially if you're a chronic dieter, your body has stood by you through so much crap. At least pat yourself on the back. It didn't fail you.
Awesome. I want to say thank you so much, Carrie, for you, the Diet Rebellion. I mean, I encourage the audience to, you know, visit Carrie. If you've been struggling and you know, with your weight, yo-yo dieting and things like that, I encourage you to see her. We'll be right back after the break. So we're going to do a different kind of cleansing. Stay tuned. We'll see you after the break. Hi, and welcome back to The Wellness of Being. I'm your host, Brad Poirier. Now we're here with holistic practitioner Deborah. As I mentioned before in our last segment, that she has a new way of cleansing. So what it is, we're going to start, it's by cleansing your mind. A lot of us suffer from this, which is something that is common, but a lot of us have, which is anxiety. I want to say welcome, and nice to have you here, Deborah.
Thank you for having me, Brad.
So I guess we're going to jump right in, like we always do in every episode, and we're going to talk about anxiety, which I think a lot of people really suffer with, and I think you have your own story and stuff you'd like to share as well.
I do. As a teenager, I first found that I had a little bit of anxiety. I'd moved to a new neighborhood and, you know, new school and everything. And I was going to go out skating one day, and I realized that I was gripped with anxiety. And I just remember saying to myself, be calm and do deep breathing. And I went. And I didn't realize that, you know, that was the same thing that was occurring after I had opened my practice. I realized that the same emotion was coming over me of just being overwhelmed and anxious, and I didn't know what to do. And again, I heard myself speaking to myself and just sort of calming myself down and moving forward with that after I was calmed.
So did you find that when you were going through this anxiety, did you have a lot of crippling fear with it? Did you have a lot of just thoughts that, you know, you thought were your own or maybe weren't your own, that, you know, it made you like, did you ever decide, why am I anxious, or why is this coming on to me?
That never occurred. What actually happened is I just got this tightness in the pit of my stomach. Breath got short. It was all physical sensations. And I heard myself just coming to my own rescue and saying, be calm and deep breathly and just figure out your next step. But I didn't have thoughts. I had just feelings and sensations of just being uncomfortable.
So with this, was it when you noticed yourself, you know, calming yourself down, was this something that was just natural and innate in you, or was it something that you had learned? Like the self-talk, I believe it's self-talk that you're talking about, that when you're saying, okay, I'm having anxiety, I'm having gripping pain, now, you know, I have a shortness of breath. So was there some turning point in your mind that said, I need to do something about this?
No, none of that discussion took place. It primarily was just nurturing myself. I literally was coming to my rescue, where I was saying to myself, be calm, just sit clearly, breathe deeply, take care. And it was nothing like having that sensation. Remember, the first time this happened, I was only 16.
Yes.
So I didn't know any of those things. I didn't know that I was doing something that I had learned. It was something innate where I was saying, calm yourself down. You need to come back to a place of balance.
So you think that if somebody was in anxiety or having anxiety, what's the best way for them to kind of, I don't say treat it, but if you're in that moment of anxiety, so if I came to you and said, you know, Deborah, I'm having anxiety, what do I need to do? How would you go about, you know, counseling or guiding me?
Well, there's this kit that I have put together, and essentially it looks at all the different things that are needed to keep you in balance. But something that I would give to you at this point is I would say to someone, let's check on your breathing. When you feel, are you feeling a sensation? Check in with yourself. Are you feeling sensations? Are you having thoughts? And then you go from there. But the first thing that one should do is just do the deep breathing. Bring yourself, close your eyes and bring yourself back to center. That's the first thing. If someone can't do that, that's when we look at all the other things in the toolkit that I speak of in my practice. And they can go and pick one of the other tools, because the breathing is one of the things in the toolkit.
Okay. So what's a simple breathing technique? Is it just in and out normal breathing? Is it conscious, mindful breathing? Is it counted breathing? Or do you have a specific way in your toolkit that kind of guides people? Because obviously I think the whole point is, if you're in anxiety, is to come to a calmer, more neutral place, as opposed to breathe heavy for, you know, obviously if you're going to do this and pant, you're going to speed everything up and you're probably going to cause more anxiety.
That can occur. Basically, it's mindful breath work, and you essentially are listening to yourself, because you're the only person that's there in many cases, and you're the one that has to take control of the situation and speak to yourself clearly and in a gentle fashion, where you're saying, be calm, breathe. So it's really just you speaking to yourself and self-nurturing, which a lot of us don't know how to do because we're not taught that. But that's basically what it is. You become the nurturer of yourself in that moment, because something is out of balance.
So I imagine the more you use the toolkit, your toolkit, that you can eventually, it then becomes natural. When you're in anxiety, then you naturally come to your own rescue, and you kind of realize at the moment, okay, my heart is beating faster, I'm getting, you know, a fist or a knot in the pit of my stomach, things like that, I'm getting tense like this, it's something I need to do to really focus now. And I think eventually, I think it's like driving a car, where if you're driving a standard car, which has a stick shift, eventually it just becomes natural, and you do what you need to do. Okay, I'm driving at this speed, now I need to shift gears. I'm in anxiety, now I need to shift gears and say, okay, I don't want to be up here, I want to be here in a nice, calm, peaceful, you know, place within myself, you know, and things like that. How for you did the kit come about?
I looked at what I needed to do in order to balance myself, and I realized that I needed several different things that I could rely on, and any given moment I was able to pick those different things. And then I realized, oh, these all work well in conjunction with each other. So I started working with clients because they were looking for the same thing, for the healing of this anxiety, etc. And so one thing might work for one person, and it doesn't work so well for someone else. So I basically was able to put together a series of things. I've got at least 6 of them right now that people choose. I'll use this, I'll use this, I'll use this. And when they find what works for them, that's their go-to when they're triggered.
And I find too, it's like, for some people, like you said, the breathing may not be it. And I think that's the toughest thing for people, is when even doing meditation. A lot of people don't know how to do meditation, or a lot of times they're in their home and then they're falling asleep. You know, they just keel over, and it's like, this thing isn't working. And a lot of breath work works in meditation as well. What would be another tool besides breathing in your toolkit that someone could utilize?
Depending on if they're sensitive or not, there are essential oils that will affect the brain immediately. Now, the way my toolkit works, it's preventative. We don't wait until someone has a crisis and is in this moment. But they can learn how to use the kit when a crisis occurs.
Okay.
But anxiety, from what I've learned and from what I've studied and what I've seen with my clients, we work on a preventative fashion so that we don't allow the person to get there. But definitely using essential oils is a fabulous thing. And also hydration, because not everyone, again, works with everything that's in the kit.
That's right.
Are you hydrated? Are you, have you been going too much? Are you burning the candle at both ends? What is contributing to the anxiety that you're experiencing? And it really looks at self-care.
Yeah, and I think that's it. There's a lot of factors that go, and it's not just one quick fix, and it's not, you know, and sometimes, I guess, depending on the individual, how well they learn, what, you know, piece out of your toolkit that they choose, which is the best one for them. So if it's breathing and that works for them, they'll say, okay, I can breathe it out, I can do some self-talk, but essential oils themselves are very powerful as far as, you know, just breathing them in and what it does to your well-being. It can wake you up. It can make you peaceful. It can, you know, they can also, you know, if you have any ailments or things like that, they can, you know, basically really assist with some different things that you have. Because I know, even for calming, I mean, just even general stuff, like a lot of people like lavender for its calming. If you have a headache, peppermint is good. Or if you have even a migraine, you just mix the peppermint and the lavender together. And it's a great way to kind of alleviate some of that naturally, you know. And even some people that bring that on, like you say, with hydration too, that also is a contributing factor to a lot of body pain, which could bring on anxiety, could bring headaches on, which could give you anxiety and saying, oh no, not this again. Then you get yourself not only anxiety, but now more stress, you know, and things like that. It's so, but with the kit, because I imagine with the kit too that you've probably utilized every tool,
Yes,
you know,
I have.
in it, so you know it. You've tried and true, and you know that, you know, this one works for this one works for, you know, certain. Is there any type of person that you believe it would not work for?
There are some people that are just coming into the realm of alternative well-being.
Okay.
And it's not that it doesn't work. The learning curve is just a little bit slower for individuals that are in that space.
Yes.
But they do come along. It just depends on how you explain it to them. You meet them where they are. You explain what the issue is, because if they've come to you, it means that they're curious at least a little bit about alternative well-being. So those are the people that I found have a little bit longer time to understand what it is. But once I explain it to them and I meet them where they are, they usually get on and are doing well.
Oh, perfect. So is there any type of meditation that you would teach someone if they're going through anxiety, or just in general, just for more well-being, things like that? Or can you create, I don't say internal dialogue, but create a self-talk program for people that way the wording they can use and things like that, rather than I have anxiety, I'm freaking out. Obviously that's not a good self-talk.
It isn't, but believe it or not, that is what comes to a lot of people, because they don't have something that they can go to when that trigger occurs.
Yes.
I do have something. I don't know if you wanted me to show that now, or if I can show
that would
it
be
after.
excellent. I think our audience would love it, and I guess you're going to use me as a willing participant.
Great.
Yeah,
great.
I don't mind it. Yeah, I can relax.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do, Brad, is I'm going to get you just to close your eyes.
Okay.
Inhale and exhale deeply through the nose, and exhale deeply through the nose. I'm going to get you to put your left hand on your heart chakra. And that is your heart area. For those that don't know what a chakra is, I'm going to get you to put your right hand on your abdomen. I'm going to get you to inhale and exhale. Now I want you to say to yourself, on this day, and you can say it in your mind, on this day, everyone that I encounter, including myself, I'm going to meet at a frequency of peace and tranquility and love or above. And that is, on this day, everyone I meet, including myself, I will meet them at a frequency of peace and tranquility and love or above. And now inhale into that frequency and exhale. And inhale and exhale. And when you're ready, come back and just check in and see how you feel.
Wow, I actually feel so much calmer. I thought I wasn't stressed, but now I feel like amazing. You know, oh, that's so cool. And that's anybody, I guess even watching, could even just do themselves right now, or as we're doing it and stuff like that. And I guess you can change, like the words you have are beautiful, but anybody could even change the formatting of the words and utilize what works for them as well.
I do have an offer for the individuals that would like to go through that mini meditation.
Okay. Sure.
I do have an offer. I'm certain they can have my information up on the screen, and individuals can email me, and I'll be happy to send them that information.
Amazing.
So
yeah, I'm sure people will. I think I'll even email you again just so I can get it, so I can utilize it and keep it and stuff like that. But just to quickly go over, we have a couple of minutes left in our segment here. You also do something as well. You have another program that you do. I just want you to touch lightly just on it and just tell our audience kind of what it's about and just a brief overview.
Sure, that program's called the Womb Detox, and it started out as a resource for women to work with their menstrual cycles and also for PMS and things like that. Some women have what's known as fibroids, etc. Working through that, I found that we touched on the root chakra, and the root chakra deals with our safety, our security in the world, how we show up. And I found that men have root chakras as well. Not that I found that, but I know that.
Yes.
And I found that there were men who were coming to me through the anxiety work that I was doing, and then we found that their chakras were off. I now put this together as a program called the Womb Detox. And it's called the Womb Detox because we all come through the womb of our mothers.
Yes. We
bring with us anxiety and memories that are in our cellular memories.
Light bulb just went off.
Yes, that's why it's called the Womb Detox, and we actually have men coming through the program now.
Wow.
So it really works with getting our deep cleansing, not only anxiety cleansing, but deep cleansing.
Oh, perfect, perfect, perfect. That's just amazing. Like, I think you do so much. You do the meditation, you do the anxiety, you do the womb detox, you also do yoga, you also do probably a whole list of stuff. If people go to your website, you know what I mean, things like that, I think you take the person from inside out, the whole well-being, everything just encapsulated into one. You know, I think yourself as an expert, you're probably the one go-to resource that people really need to get themselves balanced, to get their chakras aligned, to get their mind clear and focused and relaxed and things like that, as well as, you know what I mean? And the womb detox, I mean, it sounds incredible. I mean, I've actually checked you out, and I've seen some stuff online. You have an amazing video, and even when you go to your website, PravanaWellness, you know, that if people check it out there, you can actually see the list of benefits and things like that they can get from it. And there's so many more benefits I never even knew about.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because obviously you hear the title and you automatically think something, but now since you've said it, it's a totally different experience for me, and that's where the light went off. It's like, wow, it's something totally different than what I thought.
Yes.
You know, and I just want to thank you so much for coming. You have a wealth of information. I can't wait to engage with you again. I want to say thank you,
for
coming,
having me,
Deborah. I want to thank the audience for joining us today on this program. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. It's been wonderful, and I will definitely see you next time. We'll see you again.